Dear friends, welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege of Parshas Naso, and the parsha begins with a delineation of the responsibilities of the various Levitic families. Specifically, we spoke in last week's parsha about the idea that Shevet Levi as a whole was tasked with the deconstruction and then movement of the Mishkan, and then reconstruction when we once again recount. So here in this week's parsha, the Torah discusses that each family in Levi took on a different responsibility, specifically in what they transported from one location to another. So the parsha begins with a discussion of the family of Gershon. What did Gershon do? So the Torah says, this is in Parak Chav Daled, Pasuk Chav Hey, chapter 4, verse 25. V'nasu es yiros hamishkan v'es oal moed mechsei atachash ashar lav milamalo es masach pesach oal moed. So again, Gershon was responsible for carrying the curtains. For carrying the covering, and the Torah goes on, Ve'es kaliach chatzer, Ve'es masach pesach shara chatzer, and again the various curtains that were like the screened openings, entranceways of the Mishkan. So Gershon was obligated to take all of these down, transport them, and then put them back up when we reached our next destination. And the pasuk ends off by saying, Ve'es kol asher aseya se lahem va'avadu. So literally translated, and everything that they are supposed to do, everything that will be done for them. In other words, a reference to the various parts of the Mishkan that they are transporting, everything that needed to be done, va'avadu. And the sons of Gershon, the family of Gershon, will go ahead and do it. Okay, a pretty straightforward set of psukim. Gershon is tasked with taking down, moving, and then reconstructing certain elements of Mishkan. And then again, last phrase, which is what we're going to focus on, Ve'is kol asher ye'aseh lahem, anything that needed to be done for them, va'avadu. Gershon did. Now, in general, when you see these kinds of psukim, it really begs the question of what exactly is the Torah trying to convey to us? In other words, we already learned in last week's parsha that Shevet Levi was responsible for deconstructing, moving, and then reconstructing the Mishkan. Okay, so I understand you want to get a little bit more into some greater specificity about which family did what, but still we come to a certain point where we have to ask ourselves, why is the Torah teaching me this information? Remember, after all, we will never again have a Mishkan. In Meretz Hashem, we daven every day for the restoration of the Beis HaMikdash, for the third Beis HaMikdash from here of Yaminu, the third temple, but there's not going to be a Mishkan. And furthermore, the Beis HaMikdash itself is a permanent structure. So Shevet Levi is not going to have to deconstruct, move, and reconstruct anything. And yet the Torah goes out of its way to convey to us this information in such incredible detail. We know the answer. The answer is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu often provides us the most incredible, beautiful, and riveting and transformative life lessons embedded in seemingly mundane details of the weekly parsha. So the Slalom Rebbe says something truly beautiful, and he focuses on this last phrase, which again, Parak Daled Pasuk Chavav, chapter 4, verse 26, the last phrase, Ve'es kol asher ye'aseh lahem va'avadu. Anything that needs to be done for them, the them being a reference to the pieces of the Mishkan, va'avadu. Shevet Levi, specifically the family of Gershon, will do. Says the Rebbe, what a profound life lesson embedded in those words. And I want to quote you. He says as follows, Ha'adam min ha'matzri kol ha'masla b'fiv, madua hine mema'it mitorah va'avoda. There is no shortage of excuses, says the Rebbe, says Shalom Rebbe, that we have for why we don't spiritually accomplish. In other words, most times in life, I'm never saying, I'm lazy or I'm not interested, but instead I have a whole bunch of excuses as to why I am spiritually underperforming. Keep going. Shemutra lahaviach lachmo. So for some, parnasa, again, earning a livelihood is an all-consuming endeavor, and sometimes leaves very little room for anything else. Or I have difficulties in life. I have tsaras. I have health tsaras. I have parnasa tsaras, family tsaras, all different kinds of things. And by the way, all legitimate things. A parnasa we know could be all-consuming. Tsaras in life, difficulties, challenges, turbulence in life could be all-consuming. But says the Rebbe something amazing. But what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu really demand of us? What does he ask of us? Look how the Rebbe reads into the phrase. Whatever happens to them. Whatever happens to them, whatever is done to them. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks of us in life is to power through. Everyone has their challenges. Everyone has their difficulties. And Chevra, if challenges and difficulties were an excuse for non-performance, then no one would ever accomplish anything. Because there is no one of us who doesn't have their life challenges. There is no one of us who doesn't have to deal with day in and day out some difficult and overwhelming set of circumstances. And some of us even have multiple tzaras and multiple sets of complicating circumstances. Yet, with all of that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has one simple request. No, one simple demand. No, one simple goal, dream, and aspiration for all of us, which is power through. Power through. Whatever it is that you think that is going to hold you back, power through it. Because the same HaKadosh Baruch Hu that gives me the difficult circumstances is the same HaKadosh Baruch Hu who still has the unwavering set of expectations. I can't allow the difficulties and challenges of life to hold me back. Some people go like this through life, and people often have a statement in life: I will accomplish when, or I'll accomplish if, or I'll do this when. And again, any time in life you phrase your life aspirations, goals, or dreams with the word when or if, chances are it's never going to happen. There's always an obstacle. There's always a problem. There's always a challenge. There's always tzaras. It's the way that life is, right? We like to think that I'll get to a point where I'm above all of these challenges and difficulties. But as we get older, we recognize that no, that's not the way life works. The way life works is the challenges of today, hopefully I'll meet them, I'll deal with them, and then I know what happens. Maybe I'll get to breathe for 3 minutes, and then there's going to be a brand new set of challenges following close on foot right afterwards. So that is the way that life works. That is the nature of the human condition. So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's expectation of us is, whatever the challenge is, whatever the difficulty is, I need you to figure out a way to power through it. And the Rebbe says that's the meaning in the phrase. Chavri, you have to appreciate this. You look at this in your Chumash. Perek Dalid, Pasuk Chavav, chapter 4, verse 26. So again, the phrase as it appears in the Chumash is Eis Kol Asher Yaseh Lahem, which literal translation means whatever needs to be done for these pieces of the Mishkan, right? Va'avadu. Ultimately, again, you will do. They will do, right? The tribe of Gershon will do. But the Rebbe says it means that, but it also means something so much more. Hashem is speaking. Eis kol asher yaseh lahem. Hashem is saying, Chavra, whatever happens to you, my children, whatever you undergo, whatever the trials and tribulations, whatever the difficulties, all the things in life that I, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, visit upon you, all of the challenges, I have one request. Va'avadu. Keep serving. Keep doing, keep powering through, do not give up, do not yield, and do not give in. How often in life do we embark upon beautiful life initiatives? We dream beautiful dreams, we think about incredible aspirations and goals. And then what happens? What always happens in life? Challenges, difficulties, parnasa, health, shidduchim, children, some of the above, all of the above. And sometimes we erroneously think that the challenges of life are a p'tur. They're an exemption to move myself forward. That if I have challenges, then I don't have to dream. And if I have difficulties, I don't have to have goals. And if I encounter tremendous life turbulence, then I don't have to aspire for anything more. Because at the end of the day, my life is so difficult, the circumstances I have at hand. The Rebbe says, everyone has them. Everyone has them. And the same Ribono Shel Olam who conferred all of those challenges upon them, the same Hashem who says, Eis kol asher yaseh lahem, no matter what happens to you in life, and Hashem says, I know what happens to you in life because I cause it. But with all of that, va'avadu, power forward. Power forward. Don't give up, don't give in, don't yield. And what a beautiful and encouraging and fantastic message for us. Because how many of us have, in that proverbial life closet, we have all of these half-started projects, right? Half-started dreams, half-materialized goals and aspirations, and then some challenge occurred, and I simply threw in the towel. Challenge and difficulty is not an allowance to stop trying, but in fact, it's just a mandate to work even harder. No matter what you undergo in life, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Eis kol asher yaseh lahem, va'avadu. Remain committed to bringing about the actualization and the completion of your dreams, your goals, and inspiration. no matter how many difficult things occur in life, no matter how overwhelming the circumstances may be, never give up, never give in. Keep trying to forge forward. Wishing everyone a good night of Shabbos and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.